Welcome to my live stream. Welcome to my cactus live stream. Cactus care, sowing out, but not only cacti. I want to do more other stuff too. I brought a chili that has grown, that has sprouted, and I'm very happy. I'm very proud to show it here. Yeah. So the seeds were viable. Just to say that, I just thought that, sometimes as a seed seller, when I buy seeds, I'm a very critical buyer. So I generally assume when I buy like a large pack, 10 different types of seeds, I generally expect the worst. The worst. So in this case, I was pleasantly surprised. The seeds all seem to be viable, at least a large part of them. So I'm very proud about that. I'm very happy that I had a good eye for a seed seller for the chili. And I will show them again later. It's one tiny sprout, one tiny little seedling. And for now, I'll leave it in the bag. I just wanted to bring it up because this is nice. Nice to see that you don't have to be super experienced with a particular type of plant to be able to buy viable seeds. With cacti in the beginning, at my time, it was different. It took a lot of care, a lot of work to find viable seeds. And when I see that, like when I buy seeds that I like from a different industry, I appreciate that. Like the basic stuff, they came up reliably. That is good. So yeah, I brought like last stream yesterday, kind of skipped all the cactus part. So I'm here with the stuff that we didn't get to do yesterday. Just wanted to say yesterday's stream was really good. In my opinion, it was one of my best streams that I ever did, and I'm honestly proud. Just by the way I represented, I carried myself. Situation started like with a comment that was just trying to like kind of heckler kind of comment, and the whole thing developed into an interesting direction. And I want to say it again, that was a great stream. I was proud of myself. So, but yeah, it's a cactus stream. So today, I don't want to make a habit out of it, but every now and then, if a stream develops into a completely different direction, I'm happy to go with it. I'm not stuck to a schedule every day. When I come here, I know what I want to do. But if an interesting question comes in, or if a question comes in that really is interesting, but that bothers me enough to reply, then I do it. It's just difficult right now to do anything. Like being online, you're on one hand, I'm this cactus guy that people know. On another hand, I also know that people kind of also care about what I think. So I try to go somewhere in between. I know that we need spaces to go where there's not that big talk. You need to be able to have that, but you have to also be able to say your opinion. And if someone asks me what my opinion is, I'm just the type of guy, I give it. So yeah, but it's cactus, and that is my my main focus. I don't want to spend too much time all the time, but if it happens from now every now and then, it's okay. I consider I would be able, I wouldn't even rule out that we're not having talks on the stream, like discussions with other creators, that kind of stuff. For now, I'm happy to I just see how the things turn out, in what kind of a direction everything is going. It feels a little like a podcast, what I'm doing here. So I'm just open to wherever the stream leads to, in whatever direction it develops into. So yeah, hey, welcome to the stream and happy birthday. I am wishing you a happy birthday. I hope you have a great time. I hope you got a nice, like, I don't know, a tiny miniature cake, something like that. Yeah, hope you have a great day. Thank you for being here. I brought all the stuff back that I brought yesterday that didn't get to be discussed yesterday. So yeah, let's get started. For one, I have the containers here, like with the that where I wanted to sew out. I just closed them up yesterday to avoid that the fungus gnats come in it. But yeah, I kind of closed them up, and now we are ready to sew out. I have seeds here, and that's what we will do later. It's just 6 containers, so it's not going to be huge, but it's a little fun activity. And yeah, so what are the plans on your birthday today? Hope you have something. Like, I'm the type of guy, I do nothing. I don't want to do anything on my birthday. I'm just glad when people don't find me on my birthday. Oh, that's great. That's great. I hope you have a great rest of the day too. So yeah, okay, let me go through the containers. I wanted to do it yesterday, but I couldn't. Sometimes you have to just be open about what you think. It's that simple. Trust your gut. I'm a trust my gut kind of person, and I always went well with it. Oh, that's not great if you have to work on your birthday. But on the other hand, I understand. I haven't celebrated my birthday in I think 20, 25 years. I don't know. It's a long time. I've had times in my life when that kind of got into the background a little bit. These kind of celebrations and all that. And today it's difficult to get it back. Once you have kind of distanced yourself from all that, it's kind of difficult to get back there. So, but I like when people celebrate. Just using the chance to celebrate. There's always a good time to celebrate. So yeah, let's check out the seedlings here. Looks okay. I noticed the color difference here, and these have looked kind of yellowish from the beginning and have unique kind of discolorations. So I suspect this is going to be one of those crosses that turn out to be variegated, maybe partially variegated. They look great. Interesting kind of body. Not seeing too many problems. I see one seedling that lies there, and I greatly suspect that this could be fungus gnat, but I'm not entirely sure. But it definitely looks like it, yeah. So at some point I will take these out. I might even take them out now. Now that I have seen that one seedling, The others look great. They always claim the weakest first, and at this point, there's a positive side. You can make a positive argument to keep them in the bag, or you can make an argument to take them out of the bag. When you take the cactus seedlings out of the bag, you might lose the weaker ones, some of the weaker ones too, because you have to spray them all the time. But then you avoid the problems with the fungus gnats. So you always have to decide if it's worth it or not. What kind of approach will have the better outcome? Yeah, I need to repot too. So yeah, it never ends. You always repot even on your birthday. I can definitely relate to that. So yeah, I'm honestly, we could probably take them out now and they would be all right. But I want to leave them in there for another week. I assume next time we see them and there's another problem in this container, this thing will be taken out of the bag. I try to keep them in for as long as possible. But I also don't want to wait so long until a healthy container has been claimed one after the other by the fungus gnats. Welcome to the fungus gnat channel. So yeah, let's see what the others are doing here. Okay, so yeah, these The seedlings look good. But the soil looks a little bit bad. Like it's the combination of moss, algae, and excessive humidity. It's a little bit too wet, and I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like the whole texture of the top layer of soil there. I don't like that. I feel like it looks like there could be problems. Just like that, at some point, the seedling root can't deal with the combination that this soil, all the problems that this soil has. I want to take these out probably, and I believe they are big enough. They should be big enough. Just looking at the seedlings, trying to judge if there's any one of them that has root problems, but I'm not seeing it, you know? So the moment we take them out, it would just mean that you can make things worse by taking them out too early. Yeah, they are big enough, actually. They should make it. I'm just not sure if I want to water that much, you know? Maybe we're leaving them in for another week, because the roots look good. I haven't seen any problem yet. The soil does not look right, but it doesn't mean it can't, you know, you don't have maybe another couple of weeks or maybe even a month until the problems get bigger. Yeah, okay. These are looking good. Whole lot of seedlings, and at that point it becomes difficult to keep an eye on really every seedling, because all it takes sometimes is that one seedling in there has an infection, had, you know, one fungus gnat somewhere in this whole group of seedlings, and it can be the start that takes everything down. Hey, welcome to the stream. Great to have you. Thank you for joining. Yeah. So for now, this is okay. But I'm always a little bit worried when I see these huge numbers of seedlings in a container. Always a lot of time singling out, repotting. You might even have to repot these after the first 6 months already. Okay, these are looking good. I like them. This thing here in the front, I don't know what this is called. If you know what this is called, please tell me. I had it, I knew it, someone told me maybe years ago and I forgot again. It's some sort of a weird kind of gross, I don't know if this is a lesion, whatever. I have no idea. Check it out. It's a weird, it looks like a little miniature salad, but it never really bothers the seedlings. This is not something that becomes a problem. It's just something that you often see in a container of seedlings. So yeah, and apart from that, there's different kinds of seedlings. Normal kind of classic healthy growth, and some that are delayed that look like they might be like mutated. Monstrous seedlings maybe. Some variegated ones too. So the color of, like the skin color, varies in this whole cross. Different seedlings have different kind of skin coloration. So this will be interesting to see how these will grow out. Maybe we get something that is partially variegated, but still can produce the chlorophyll that is needed to survive for the cactus seedlings. I always like when you have a cross that surprises you with variety, with something that you didn't really see coming, you know. And with the years, you've seen a lot, you get used to it, but it's always nice to see diversity in the cross. Okay, so what is this? This is Teleflora. Yeah, I mean, look at it. I've been talking about Teleflora and genetic health, and now you see it, you know. Last time I've opened these, they looked exactly like they look now. This is not a lot has changed here. This is all hasn't really grown, and some of them might, maybe one or two long term, if we're lucky. That is the goal. Right now, I see these seedlings and I know the goal will be to get one plant from them. But some of them are green, some of them are a little bit bigger, so maybe we are lucky. Maybe we get something that we can graft early on. With these here, I would graft them right away, because I'm often not convinced with something like this that they have what it takes to survive long term. Little seedlings, even if there's a problem, they usually come up, and then you have a full variegated albino kind of seedling, and that thing will slowly start to go away. You know, they just don't have the long-term ability to produce chlorophyll, and that's a deal breaker. Okay, so this is a nightmare. Now we'll transplant these right now. Check this out. I need to find a pot. Here's one. The last pot that I have. But I'm not letting it like this. Check it out. I'm not sure if I've shown you. This is exactly what I mean. When moss becomes a nuisance, goes from a nuisance to a problem. When it is covering seedlings. So now they will go into sowing soil, classic sowing soil. Sowing soil is a good all-rounder to start with. Little cactus seedlings, they can take the humidity. Okay, so I would be very careful here, because they are still very small, and I want to just transplant them. Let me see. I want to put it into a bag first, because the water will run through, and I don't want to have a lot of water here on the desk. Okay. So I will just wet the top layer of the soil a little bit, because if you don't do it before you transplant, it becomes very difficult. The soil will stick to everything, and also it will move once you water it. The whole soil level will sink a little bit in, and then you did all the work for nothing. You transplanted that seedling, you watered after that, and things change again, and you might have to do it again. Okay, so now I would just transplant the seedlings in this new pot, new soil, and hopefully the moss won't come with us. And that's why you need to be careful when you have something like this. The more soil that is stuck to the seedlings, the higher the chance that you bring the moss with it. But even if that happens, you still gave the seedlings a head start. They still have a little bit more time to get through the most dangerous phase, you know. And at that point, if you just have to transplant them a third time, then that's what you do. Transplanting is the best way to deal with a lot of problems. Not all, some stuff can be easily fixed, but if you are not sure, transplanting has more potential to help than to hurt. You just have to be careful. You just can't handle the tiny root in a way that it breaks off. And now it's exactly another situation like this. You know, there's moss around the seedling, and if I now try to carefully pull the seedling out of the soil, the moss will hold it back and the root will rip off. So we will do that one last, because I need to take the moss apart, and I don't want to use the same kind of thing for that. We will do that last. We'll just transplant the seedlings that I can easily access, that I can easily take out of the soil here. and always with minimum soil. And some of them look like they will also not make it, but I will give them a chance. This is also Humkes Roro, you know, I've brought that up a few times, and you can really see it every time here. It's really a problem every time. It's just not a situation where you get a lot of healthy offspring from it. It can happen. This was super risky. I accidentally pulled too hard and I got it out, but I almost broke off the root. This was not intentional. I just wanted to move the seedling a little bit so I can get below it. And that was already too much. So you need to be very careful when transplanting tiny, tiny cactus seedlings. Okay. So I think we have them. And we'll see how this will develop in the next maybe 2 months. I will now water them last time. Also because I want to finalize their position in the pot. Because now you change something and the soil would sink again when you water. And check it out. See, I watered and some of the seedlings are lying there again. So now I'm transplanting them for the last time. Just correcting the position, putting them a little deeper. Okay. Yeah, and the label needs to come with it. Cleaning it up a little bit, and then I will close it up again because the seedlings are so small that they would probably not would not make it if I would take them out of the bag right now. I don't think they would. So closing it up. The seedlings have a little bit more time now, and they can now figure out what they want to do, if they want to stick around or expire. We will see that. For now, this is okay. And it's definitely possible that the moss finds a way into that container too. But again, the seedlings have another month until that happens. Or maybe more. Probably more. Okay. What's this? This looks weird. It's a mountain of seedlings. And it's getting taller and taller. This is too many seeds sown. So at some point, everything grows into the rootstock, and it gets bigger and bigger. You have one big round ball below that. So at some point, we need to transplant these, single them out a little, because this is just bad. Whole lot of seedlings in this one. And we probably have to do that very soon. I don't have any pots left right now, but when I have the new ones, we will do this. I don't like when they ball together like this, you know, because they lose contact with the soil below, and that is usually the point when you need to do something. They look great, you know, the seedlings look healthy, but long term, that is just a bad kind of form that the seedlings have. You need to be able to see when there's a problem on all of the seedlings. And, you know, if you have a ball, how do you know what's happening below it? Okay. I see good and bad. The seedlings look okay, look all right. But the soil looks slimy. I don't know what's going on there. Sometimes you just have, it's usually algae that is growing, that is instantly changing the top layer, turning it into this humid kind of thing, like a humid paste, green paste kind of top layer of soil. I hate that. But for now, it's okay. The seedlings look okay. I'm not seeing many problems that where we could do something now. We could take them out now. We could transplant. Transplanting would be an option, but the seedlings for now look okay. So we're waiting another week. There's always something to transplant, and I try to leave them in for as long as possible. Okay. So later I want to sow out the Leuchtfeuer seeds that I have cleaned yesterday. No, the day before. Leuchtfeuer hybrid between Gröner Candicans, Lubivia hybrid, stuff like that, you know. Sörensia crassicaulis hybrid also involved. Really interesting genetics, and I want to sow it out because I feel like we could get a great flower from it. So these here, I opened these up. This is washed pumice. Seedlings look okay, but we need to start fertilizing them. And apart from that, this is just not super healthy looking seedlings. Very often these are from the transplanting that we took out of the too organic soil that had problems with the fungus gnat. And in this case, I feel like the washed pumice is a little bit too fast draining for them already. Like maybe we should have transplanted them into sowing soil instead. Yeah, these are looking good. Soil a little too wet, but healthy looking seedlings, and I will close it up again. Too deep in the pot, that has been discussed often. Takes away light. Yeah, but apart from that, no problems for now, and I can just leave them. I usually try to leave the seedlings in the bags for at least 3-4 months. Sometimes longer if I can. It saves you the work to water them all the time. But it also means at some point, if there's a problem, you know, people forget what they don't see all the time. So if you put them in a closed bag and you just leave them there for months, at some point you can find them and they are gone because something had happened. What we are doing here, we're checking them on a regular basis. And yeah, if you keep them in the bag for a very long time, at some point the soil might have a bad pH level eventually, something like that, you know. And then you have them in there and you are not sure why they are suddenly having root problems, root rot, that kind of stuff. But pH level is often one of the things that causes problems later on when you have them in the same soil for a very long time. That's why it can be good to have a soil that comes with a pH buffer, have a fertilizer that comes with a pH buffer. Okay, yeah, it's in the corner sowing, not a good idea. Takes away space from the seedlings. They're now pressing against the wall, and in order to fix that, I would have to set this whole thing a little bit more into the center. So you are instantly having to transplant at an early age. You can, of course, you can leave it, you know, you can say, okay, then they are just growing into the side wall of the container. But then at some point you will have an infection. That is how the infection happens. They press against something and you have humidity in that little you know, hole that they have there that is pressing against it. You just trap humidity there. And for a seedling, that is not good. And also you are not seeing what's happening at the on the outside of the seedling where it's pressing against the wall. You just have to trust that it is okay. And in many cases, it's not. Okay. Next one. These are looking good, but way too deep. Check this out. This is like 1/4 of a pot. That should have been where there should be more soil in the pot. And you could fix that later by taking out the whole top layer. You can sometimes do it at once in one piece, but this is looking unlikely that would happen. But you could lift everything up, fill up with soil, and then you have them a little bit higher. They get more light, they get more oxygen, because right now they are in the valley. Like, this isn't just, it's a little bit too deep. And also moss, you know, here's moss, little. And yeah, you create a little humid environment down there that is not good, that you would rather not have. I'm not saying that the moss might not be there if the seedlings would have been potted a little bit higher, but I'm sure it plays a role that the moss can thrive there. Okay, next one. Little seedlings, lot behind, way behind compared to the others, but not looking bad per se. Some of them lean a little bit over, which could mean fungus gnat. So I'm looking very closely now. The root is still there. It's not infected. I'm not sure. So I would try to give that seedling a little bit more, better connection to the ground and all. Here's another one that isn't standing firm on the ground. It's a lot of them, actually. I might have actually handled these poorly. Okay, so now check it out. It's a little bit better. But these worry me a little. Not seeing fungus gnats. Not at all. So, but we need to keep an eye on them. This isn't looking perfect. It could be better. Okay. And here's one that also has very small seedlings in it. I hate that. Look at it. Look at it. One seedling in center. I'm not sure how I brought the seeds into this pot, but I must have been like dreaming, thinking of love. Yeah, I should have planted the seedlings in center. There's moss on the right. It's too far away from the seedlings to be a problem. But it could turn into one. You know, it already looks like the kind that gets a little taller, you can see. And if you have that besides or surrounding the seedlings, then that can be a problem. The seedlings look, by the way, they look like variegated something. If I would take them out now, I don't think half of them would make it unless I spray them all the time. So I will keep them in there for now, but I really don't like the position of them. I don't like that. So many of them look somewhat variegated already. It's just, let me see what it is. Mamacita, okay, makes sense. Mamacita, Acacia rosei flora hybrid. Otto Schulz is the mother, I believe. At least one of the parents is Otto Schulz, the other one is the Echinopsis. And yeah, with something like this, if you add in that I pollinated that plant with something different, then yeah, that can certainly produce variegated seedlings. Variegated, mutated, whatever. We want to get something interesting, but I have limits. Okay, so here I noticed that there's a piece of wood lying there around the seedlings. I would take that out now. I don't really mind a little bit of organic material and stuff like that in the container. In the beginning, they take a lot. They really tolerate a lot of staying wet in the beginning, but there's a limit. If you have a piece of wood lying on a seedling, help that poor seedling, please, for all that is right, help it. Yeah, apart from that, here's a seedling that has a discoloration on the side. It's not a good sign. Some of them are too small to take them out. I could take them out, but I feel like it could be safer to leave them in there for another week. But I really don't like that discoloration that I'm seeing on that one seedling there. The others look okay. There's also this kind of weird growth in it here. See this here? They sometimes even have hair. I don't know what it is. I'm not interested, you know, it's not my kind of plant, but you keep seeing them when sowing out. Apart from that, seedlings look great. This is a very diverse kind of type of seedlings that you get there. Normal growth and some that probably have mutations. If that is good or bad, we will see. We will have to see. Some hybrid crosses shouldn't be entertained. Shouldn't be, you know, you shouldn't prolong the suffering. But some others are just perfect, you know, magic. Like when you look at a plant like flying saucer, not all hybrid crosses need to be unhealthy. You know, we can decide that. That is something that every breeder should do. Strive for genetic health. Okay, yeah. Whole lot of seedlings. And with moss around them. I need to transplant these very soon, and I don't like it because it's going good right now, you know? I don't want to actually interfere for as long as it's going good. But this is already getting to the point where I can't reliably tell if it's really going good everywhere, you know? You see healthy seedlings and that, but that can happen. That kind of a nice feeling in there can turn very fast when you have a fungal infection at one seedling, and it can spiral. It can continuously decimate the number of seedlings that you have, like reduce the seedlings that you have. We look into a pot and see that there are so many, and then we don't really are not careful enough to keep it like that, you know. A lot of the crosses where you start off with a large amount of seedlings, large number of seedlings, but eventually, long term, it becomes difficult if you don't respect them. You need to respect them also, especially, you know, when you have a lot of them, because I know how easy it is to lose them in the beginning. And we sometimes think that container is safe. That container is safe because there are so many seedlings in it. But that way of thinking can very fast lead to you losing them all just because you think, okay, I don't need to invest a lot of time there, and then you have overlooked something. Yeah. Okay. So these are in washed pumice. Yeah, looking okay. I took out one seedling that didn't make it, but the others look okay. The thing that you need to keep in mind when I transplanted these, there was a reason that I transplanted them, and the reason was that they had problem in the organic soil, like in the fungus gnat infested soil. So yeah, I rather recommend transplanting into sowing soil. It is safer in the beginning, but then again, if you transplant them from one medium into another organic medium, you can just bring the fungus gnats back. Sometimes they are already in one seedling where you didn't see them, and then you just gave them a new container to do their stuff, you know. Okay, here's another seedling ball. This is nuts. This is getting... These have grown a lot. This wasn't like that, right? Like the last time, I'm not sure when I showed these the last time, but this is getting wild here. And these are, you know, you have that mountain of seedlings there, and below it, if you look, there are little seedlings that are shaded that just are pushed into the soil. Not really ideal. But for now, it's going good. So I would just close this monster up again, this monster of a seedling ball thing, and move to something else. For now, this is okay, but we don't have a lot of time. Check it out. This is already close to the upper end of the bag. At some point, they need to be taken out, singled out. Okay. Looking good. Not too bad. Healthy seedlings, not seeing a problem. Soil is a little bit too wet, but it's okay. You can see there's no water pooling in the bag. None. I don't want that. That takes away the oxygen from the soil. You are literally soaking the soil with water, and it replaces oxygen. So yeah, can close this up again. I'm happy with them, but we'll see. This is Uwe Kahle hybrid. We will have a lot of them this year. Oh, come on. I'm starting to notice a trend with the Ziploc bags. They are built at some point. The closing mechanism fails, and I feel like they're building them like that intentionally. Like if they would put, it's one thing that I really notice, if they would put more energy into producing something that really reliably closes and holds for a while, like for years, like for 2 years, something that you can open and close again for 2 years, then we wouldn't have so much plastic trash, you know. They should, when I buy like dry cat food, dry dog food, that closing mechanism breaks within the first month, and I just find it so wasteful. Okay, yeah, this looks bad. Hey, so these look bad. I can only say it like this. Do you see the seedling lying there? That must have been fungus gnats, and these are seedlings from an intergeneric hybrid cross. So genetically, probably not so healthy. The seedlings right now, the problem that I have here, there's one green seedling now, one. And that one is so small, if I would take it out, I don't think they would make it. You would have to spray them all the time. And I consider doing it. I'm not sure. So this seedling here, apparently fungus gnat. And that already means we should take them out. But the seedlings are all so small that I don't trust them to make it. That is so, yeah. Here's a seedling that just came up just in the last days. So what I will do now is I will take out the seedling, that one that is lying there. That one's, I see the root system, it's missing. It's literally eaten away. Okay. I'm not seeing, I just looked at the top layer of the soil to see if I can find fungus gnats, like the larvae. You often see the larvae moving on top of the soil like a transparent, I don't know, like a transparent worm, but tiny. And yeah, you can often see them, but I'm not seeing them here. The other seedlings all look good. I might close this up again simply because I cannot take them out safely yet. We could do it. We could try. But I have enough experience to know how it would probably go. So let's keep them in for another week. Let's just do it a week, and then we will see. Doesn't have to, I'm sure they will not have grown a lot in a week, like next time we're opening this bag. But that might already be what makes the difference. So we will see. And the moment I take these out, I try to fertilize them in order to get them to grow. I want to see if they don't make it. If they, if they are variegated, fully variegated, then we will see that very soon. And then they will probably not be of great health anyways, A lot of the variegated plants need to be grafted. And I'm not really doing that. I'm not the type of grower that wants to have something that is just sick without roots. Like if you, or on the own roots without a stock, without a grafting stock. I don't believe in growing stuff that needs to be grafted to kept around. Okay, yeah, these are looking good. Healthy seedlings, but there's one that looks like it has been attacked, eaten. I will take these out, despite the fact that the seedlings look good. I would take them out because the other seedlings look good, I see one seedling that had been very clearly munched on, like tiny, and we will take this out now, let the soil dry completely, and that will hinder the fungus gnat larvae that need humidity in the soil. Sometimes drying out the seedlings is a good way. In the beginning, we could have done it a little sooner, but we're doing it now. When it happened in the beginning, the seedlings weren't that size yet. I always try to take them out of the bag, not before they have reached a certain size. So here, whole container full of seedlings. A lot of work, repotting and all that. But yeah, healthy looking seedlings, very healthy, a little bit of moss here, and the container is getting full. So this is going to be, if you have them pressing against both sides of the container, you very fast come into a situation where you need to take them out, because otherwise they continue to expand, and at some point a seedling will break and it will turn into an infection. So yeah, this needs to be solved very soon. Okay, yeah, and this is washed pumice with a little seed, with a sunflower seed that came up. And I need to take that out now. I don't want it in this container. Okay, taking this out. Not sure what to do with it. I love sunflowers, but they accidentally spilled into the washed pumice. I've been feeding the birds, and the birds had kind of helped with the distribution a little bit. Okay, so I want to show you my seedling here. I talked about that in the beginning, but I want to take it out now. And normally I wouldn't do that, but we're doing it just to show you. So this is chili, little chili plant. We've sown out maybe 14 days ago. Yeah, and this is looking good. I'm not sure how long I will keep it in here in this thing. But for now, this is good. This is good until I see roots at the other end. And then we can discuss how we continue. But yeah, this is great. Very happy about that. Okay, so let me see what kind of seeds I brought here. I want to sow out now. I really need to sow out the Leuchtfeuer seeds that I discussed, because this is a very good hybrid. I've been cleaning quite a lot of seeds recently. I can't find it. I'm not sure where I put it. Maybe I put it aside here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Leuchtfeuer. These are seeds of a multi-hybrid between a Gröner Candicans hybrid probably multi-hybrid, like candy cans with an open pollinated father. So they didn't know what it is. The seeds came from Chörres. And yeah, the plant had a lot of ribs. In my opinion, the father was a Sörensia bruchi, but who knows? It's just my gut feeling, because I took a very close look at all the ribs. The rib count looks like classic, influenced by Sörensia bruchi kind of thing, If it's a different kind of Pseudolobivia, you would see it in the body, but the rib count would be lower. Just Sörensia bruchi, it just has so many ribs that it usually passes down. It's usually passed down into the next generation, and that is what these Gröner Candicans hybrids all have. Then it involves a Sörensia crassicaulis and a Lobivia hybrid by Rolf Autenried. So yeah, I want to sow them out because there could be a hybrid of the year in them. And I know that from just because some of the previous hybrids with it were great. Okay, and I'm not sure how many we will sow out, but this is really one of the crosses that I really like, where I feel like this could be great. So try to split it up over maybe 3 containers. Just doing 3 for now. I don't want to invest too much space, but this is one of the hybrid crosses where I could also see myself sowing out more. All of them, for example. When you do that, it can totally backfire. You can totally have a million seedlings that all look the same, that all have the same kind of bad flower. I've had that with the hybrids recently, and it just happens. You just have to. Sometimes it's worth the risk. Sometimes you need to do it nonetheless, knowing what can happen, knowing that you can waste space like that, but when it pays off, then you have a lot of different seedlings from a very good cross. Okay. Okay. Just writing the label. And then I will do the water. The soil is already a little bit humid. Check it out. That's how it is from the bag of soil. But it's not enough. I need a little bit more. Generally speaking, I try to put in as little water as possible. I just want to have enough. You can always add a little bit later. But if you have flooded the whole thing, it's very difficult to undo it. Also, when you're sowing out, that washes away the seedlings. Sometimes it's better to water before you sow out and then again afterwards. We might have better done that, but the soil looked good enough. You always have to keep in mind, if the soil is too dry and you put the soil on top of that dry soil, once the water comes in, you put the water in, it will lift everything up and kind of bury some of the seeds. That is not good because cactus seeds need light. So yeah, ideally you water the soil before you sow out and after you've sown out. And that's why you always just put in a little bit of water. You can always fill in a little bit more. Okay. When I'm sowing out, it's always, the water's dripping, like just or with a water sprayer. I have one here, you could just spray the top layer of soil, and that is even safer. I'm not using a water sprayer now, because sometimes you can have like in the water sprayer, you have a little algae thing going on, and you can bring that into the containers when you spray. So you have to make sure that if you use that like a water sprayer to bring in humidity, make sure it's a clean one. It doesn't contaminate everything you put in there, because it's really a thing that really happens a lot. Okay, so now we have 3 of Leuchtfeuer. I've shown the flower on the channel, and it's basically a multicolored. It has reddish, orange, gold. It's a nice flower, beautiful and useful, and definitely able to produce some amazing offspring. If you pollinate it with Cantora, everything can happen. So, and in this case, it was, I think, pollinated with Bamboy, and that is a good combination that has potential for the future. You know, not only creating the same old hybrid, but taking that and going into a newer direction. Like Bamboy is kind of, to me, improvement of all these Wurlitz hybrids, Pink Stripes hybrids. Bamboy is kind of a whole different level now. Big size, nice flower, and everything. That flower was 3 days open for me, and that is great. So now I have 3 more that we can fill, and I'm not sure what to do here. This is 18A 2000. I want to sow these out. They could be great, but just 1 container. I want a little bit more diversity here, long term. Because if you look into every container, it is hard to grow so many of each of one type, even if it's hybrids. So I'm trying to sow out less per cross, but more of them instead. Trying to, you know, you always have so many different crosses that you make as a cactus breeder that you do not grow. Despite the fact that they have so much potential. Okay, see, and now, by the way, see how the water's pooling there? That is why it is difficult when you put the seeds there and then put just the water, you know? It kind of pushes everything up. It washes the seeds away sometimes, moves them somewhere where the light doesn't reach them. It isn't really a huge thing, but if you can prevent it, do it. You know, water first and water a second time again. With the next one, we're doing just that. I just forget all the time. Like when I open this thing up, yeah, here goes the water. Let's get started. So, okay, I think this is enough humidity. Check it out. Because there will always be water. The water will soak downwards, and there's a lot of dry material probably in this thing. So I definitely think it's possible that this thing will dry up. Later we have to open it again, have to look into this thing and see if we put in the right amount of water. If not, we need to fill up again. So this was 18A 2000 hybrid by Andreas Wessner. Okay. 2025 in German. So yeah, this will go to the heater. I have a whole lot of containers that I've sown out, new ones. The rest of the season, what we're sowing out will be own hybrid stuff. There's just too much good stuff not to say we want to check out what came from them. You know, you always have to believe in the hybrid crosses that you make. Even if some of the others sound better in the beginning, you never know what will come from them. It's just a numbers game. The more stuff you grow, the more likely it is that some of them will be that one crazy thing that you haven't seen before. Okay. So, and this is Loxanthinopsis, Echinopsis loxanthocereus hybrid, also by Andreas Wessner. He's a good breeder. He's one of the old school, and you don't see him a lot making a big thing on social media. Really a completely solid guy kind of breeder. And there's so many of them, like if that's where you know the flower, but you do not know that he's the breeder. So yeah, Loxanthinopsis, reddish flowers, interesting body, a little bit frost tender, but maybe the offspring will have that little extra resistance against the frost. I usually, with these kind of hybrids, with Loxanthocereus hybrids, I usually try to increase the flower size. Flower size is a big theme with them, or with anything like Cactus, that kind of stuff, Hildewinterer. I'm not happy with that kind of flower size. And that is what I would always, if I have a chance, try to work on. Either that or the color or both. Sometimes you make a cross and you already have a good starting point, and you can improve the flower in the next generation. So you don't have to solve all the problems at once. Hey Robert, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Great to have you. Today it's a normal plant cactus stream. But yeah, I'm glad that you saw the stream yesterday. I really liked it. I was really proud yesterday. I don't know. It also matters how you see yourself, what you know. Hey Dave, welcome to the stream. Great to have you. So yeah, today it's a little bit more calm, more plant related again. Everything has its time. Okay, I cleaned these up a little, trying to avoid that there's some sort of dirt coming into the soil, because the soil is mostly clean now. And this time I didn't forget. This is like the second last. So this time I realized I want to water this before we put in the seeds. So just a little bit of water to let that top layer of soil settle a little bit, you know. Rest easy, my friend, and then we can bring in the other seeds. Oh, yeah, we don't have snow anymore over here. The snow has disappeared. Yeah, it's the whole desk is completely wet. The water can of the channel, it is the worst water can ever to be built. It leaks water, and I can't even tell you from where. You know, it's leaking. It's probably leaking water from everywhere. So yeah, but it is part of the channel. So yeah, I'm stuck with it. I'm just too loyal, you know. I don't want to give up on it. So okay, yeah, these seeds here are clean now, somewhat clean. This is enough. I can still see a little bit here and there. So I'm always trying to improve. You always try to have no contaminants in the seeds, in the soil, because this thing will be closed up, and whatever is in there is in there. And with the seeds, it's the same. Whatever you put in there with the seeds is in there, and it can turn into a huge problem if there's just one little piece of dried pulp, whatever, you know, what's coming from a fruit. A lot of sugar in there, and that could cause a problem. So I'm always cleaning them up. This is enough. Check out how the top layer of the soil looks now. It's a little bit flatter, and that is good for the seedlings. If you have a moon landscape that goes up and down, it will be hard for the seedlings to grow in one row. and they give each other stability. Yeah, Dave wrote he has a leaky wallet. I have the same problem, unfortunately. Okay, so now I put in the seeds. Maybe a little bit too many in my enthusiasm. You know, I'm just a hopeful guy, and then I see this little container there and think, yeah, put in 1 million seeds, it's great. And now it needs a little bit water on top again. Because I want the seeds wet too. I want them to be able to experience that water from all sides, not just from the bottom. Okay, and now I can close it up. Check out, there's no water pooling at the bottom. I don't want that. You don't need that to induce the germination. Quite the opposite. You probably create a hostile environment right away. So, Luxantinopsis. And like I said, these are a little bit more frost tender, means we have to keep them indoors a little longer. Maybe, I don't know. I would try to keep them indoors for 6 months minimum. We'll see how that goes. I don't like it because I would love to bring them into the greenhouse, but you need a very specific spot for seedlings that young. You need to be able to protect them from excessive sunlight, from rain, from slugs, from ants, from whatever, from drying out. And you can do that a lot easier indoors. You can control the environment a lot easier when you're inside, have them on a shelf under a lamp, that kind of stuff, you know. Okay, one more. Okay, so this is Lobivia hybrid. We will sow that out. Little bit of Lobivia here and there. Doesn't hurt. And the Lobivia, they flower very, very fast compared to the columnar cacti. Lobivia flowering maybe within 2 years, 2-3 years. That is very within the range of possible. And that saves you a little bit time, you know. You can see faster which plants are a total waste of time. And that happens a lot, you know. Sometimes you have that plant that looks amazing, you use it in hybrid crosses, and all the offspring looks worse like itself. That happens a lot. Often also with these self-fertile hybrids, like, I don't know, Schaffery maybe, some of the Gräser hybrids, you know. You invest all that time, space, and then the offspring just looks worse. That I've had that feeling so often. But yeah, you never know until you have tried it out. Okay. So now I wait until that has settled a little bit. And then I put in the seeds, just sprinkle them on top of the soil. And yeah, then it goes to the heater, keeping everything 29-30 degree. I have seedlings in 3 different rows now. The first row is pressed against the heater, and these will come up first. And once those have come up, I take them away from the heater and move the others closer to the heater. And I always, you know, circle them around in 3 waves or something like that. The best spots at the heater are the ones that, you know, straight at the heater. They just produce the fastest germination sometimes. If the seeds are viable, that should bring them out within just a few days. But there are also other cases when you try older seeds then it needs more time. Then you can sometimes need to do more sowing out cycles when where you water the soil constantly, let it dry out, then water it again, that kind of stuff. Okay, we need a label here. Okay, from 2025. And this will also go to the heater. Yes, now we've sown out these 6 different types of seeds, or it's 4 actually. I used that Leuchtfeuer seeds for 3 different containers because I see the biggest potential in it. I've seen the fruit grow on the plant and I already had my eyes on it, you know? Sometimes you just feel like this is an interesting cross that I want to grow. And I had that feeling when I saw that thing on the plant develop, that fruit. So yeah. Now we've sown out a little. I checked the containers earlier today. So far there are no new seedlings that I could bring in. But I guess next week, maybe in 10 days, I will have the first seedlings from that new batch that we have sown out recently. And then our chili seedlings will be a little bit bigger. Things are coming together nicely. And yeah, I brought seeds. Let's clean a bunch of more seeds because I really want to get rid of them. I really want that stuff out of the way so I can focus on other things. So let me see. This is Teleflora. Yeah, let's see what we have here. Oh, by the way, this is a nice example. This is the flower, the remnant of the flower of Teleflora, dried up. And you can see how long that flower is. That is in dried condition. Tells you a little bit how long it is when it is not dried, when it is fresh and full of hair. Little tiny hair that are coming out of these scales on the tube of the flower. So yeah, and let's see what we have here in regards to the seeds. Doesn't look too bad actually. There's a somewhat decent seed size that I can see. And this is another one of those fruits that have just dried up because there was so little pulp in them. So now I'm trying to get all the pulp out of here, like the dried. And then we will sow them out sometime soon. But also, I mean, I've shown a bunch of different hybrid crosses with Teleflora now in the last streams. You have already seen that Teleflora, very often the offspring needs a lot of work to grow them. So just because you have a lot of seeds from a certain type of plant doesn't translate to having a lot of seedlings too. There are very few plants that make so many problems, like Teleflora and Super Apricot, these kinds of hybrids. They are very impressive, but maybe we should also improve the genetic health a little in the future with these. And you could achieve that by breeding in something very basic again, you know, something botanical maybe, or something like a botanical Echinopsis, whatever, something with potential to positively influence the genetic health of the offspring. These are from a hybrid between Sorensia telegona and Echinopsis irisi grandiflora. It's an old hybrid. and it is called teleflora, you know, taking the tele from telegona, and that grandiflora, you know, from Echinopsis irisi grandiflora. And when you cross two different genera, it's unpredictable. In this case, and a lot of these are so close still genetically that crossing them doesn't result in unhealthy offspring, but it can happen. It's just something that you have to keep an eye out for. You see it once you start sowing them out, once you start sowing the seeds out, you can see that genetic unhealthiness of the seedlings. But I mean, I think these are the ones, right? Let me see. This is just one of them that we have sown out. No, this is another one. But it shows you the point, you know? It shows you that you can have all these seeds, but this is all you get from them. And every cross is different, and maybe we have made something that improves that, you know? Like this year or last year, 2025, that plant had 7 fruits, different ones with different parents, and maybe 1 or 2 of them take that thing into a healthier direction. Hey Dave, take care if you're going away. Hope you have a nice day. So I'm cleaning that now, and there's a lot of debris, plant stuff here. Will take a while to clean that. Could also clean them under running water now, would probably be better, but I see a lot of tiny seeds here. We'll speed things up a little bit here and just remove stuff that I feel like won't have a lot of viable seeds. The goal is to just roll this around, and the round seeds will roll around, and everything that isn't will stay behind in center, and that allows me to clean up a little. There you can see it, you know? You see all that plant dust that didn't roll to the other side with the seeds, that goes out. And so I continuously do that, and that allows me to dry that, to clean them a little bit better than when I do it by hand. Just by hand, without rolling them around and like that, you know. Okay. Yeah, and there one thing that stands out here is that there is a high number of seeds. Check it out. This is quite a lot for teleflora. And in this case, I feel like they look a little bit better than the others, some of the others. This could actually turn out to be a healthy cross. We will see. Every cross is different. I keep telling that. Of course, there are plants that keep producing the same kind of offspring, same kind of color, same kind of body shape, simply because they might be self-fertile, simply because they keep self-pollinating, and the offspring is always a little bit different, but not that different. So, yeah. But apart from that, every cross can have a different outcome. You can even have different parents in one fruit. If you pollinate with a pollen mix, for example, you could have 3 different parents in the same fruit, in the same, you know, you pollinate the flower, you use 3 different types of pollen, you can have 3 different types of seeds in one fruit. It isn't the norm, of course, you know, because nobody in nature, it doesn't happen all the time, that so much pollen is getting onto the flower. But imagine how, like the bees, like how a bumblebee flies from flower to flower, you know, and sometimes they carry pollen from different flowers. And by like when they do that, you can end up with something that has more than one parent in the same fruit. You grow all the seedlings, and you can kind of put them into different categories. That that can happen. And I always found that fascinating. What they did, they always pollinated a different part of the stigma. Like, you know, to test that, the breeder only pollinated 2 of the little fingers of the stigma, and with one pollen, then the other 2 with another pollen. And when you do it like that, you can even have the seeds like in different positions in the fruit, because you always, you know, you pollinate that part, those little side fingers of the stigma with that pollen, the one in center maybe with something different, and the one on the right with something different. You can have more than one parent then. It's not really something that you would do unless you want to try that out, or unless you really want to try a cross and you don't have enough flowers to pollinate. You know, if you have one flower, that plant that you always waited for, that you always wanted to flower, and suddenly there's one, but not more, but you wanted to do 3 different hybrid attempts, you can do it like that, and you would, you know, greatly increase your chance to that something from that will take. So we will try it out. I want to clean these here, get them clean, and then we will see. I definitely think it's a good sign when you have so many fully developed seeds in a teleflora fruit. That isn't the norm. That doesn't happen all the time. It's not impossible. You would probably get a full fruit if you would pollinate with Sorensia telegona. If you want to try it out, do it. Try it out. Get, you know, the thing that they are closest to probably has a high chance to get maximum kind of compatibility, you know. So, or Echinopsis irisi grandiflora might also work, but since the and you know the flower of teleflora has the long flower tube. Here's the flower again, long tube. So it might even be possible that the Echinopsis is closer to it genetically, that you might even try to pollinate with that. And that could also have a full fruit, full of healthy seeds, just due to the fact that it is closely related to it. And in nature, the plants just they evolved and kind of always are specialized for the plants that surround them. In nature, you have, you know, you have the pollinators that evolve and adapt themselves to the flower. And in this case, that might work the best. Might have the most seeds, the healthiest seedlings, but I'm not sure. And the problem with that is that original Echinopsis irisi grandiflora, that old school Echinopsis that was used here, I think it's not even around anymore. So you would have to try getting a similar Echinopsis that is in the same species. And this is one of the plants that people argue about what that original plant was, that original Echinopsis irisi grandiflora. It's a different plant than Lobevia grandiflora, the one that people always refer to as grandiflorus, like that classic former Trichocereus hybrid. That's a different kind of plant. It's a classic Echinopsis, subspecies of Echinopsis irisi. The most basic Echinopsis was involved here. And the outcome was a beautiful flower, big and beautiful flower. So you don't need something with 5 different parents in the family tree to get a good hybrid. Some of the best hybrids are made with classic Echinopsis, or just, you know, a lucky accident where you combine the two plants that just fit together perfectly. Overall, I'd say we have maybe 300 seeds here. And that is probably among the highest, the most I ever had on Teleflora. Okay. It's getting cleaner. But I usually do this for quite some time, and I always feel the seeds when I remove some of them, and I see one that where I'm not sure. I test it with the fingers. They are just, some of them are just flat. They might fool you if you look at them like in a mass, but if you feel the seedling, you know it's nothing. It will not turn into anything healthy. It might actually, if you leave it in, it might turn into that kind of seedling that I've shown you earlier. Here is it. Here is it. This is the Teleflora seedlings that we had earlier. They haven't grown much in the last weeks since they have come up. Yeah, Teleflora is very nice. I like the body very much. And I also found that topic to be interesting, fascinating. Also because so many people misidentify that as Trichoceros brevispinulosus. That is a name that is entirely made up. I'm not sure who came up with it. I couldn't find any kind of description for the name. If you ask me, it is just a name for different types of hybrids with Sorensia telegona. Because even those, like the 100% like brevispinulosus kind of plants that come from the original source back then. I know Miss Plant had one, and even those, you can see the telegonus in it. You can see it in the ribs. You can see the Echinopsis hybrid that, you know, because it's most of them are the result of telegonus crossed with Echinopsis. So they have the ribs that telegonus they have that weird body, that crooked kind of body. If you look at them, they all have that in common when they get bigger. That classic reddish kind of spines. New spines are reddish. That is a rare trait. You don't see that in many cacti, but you see it in Sorensia telegona. And then they have, when the flowers open, you can see it in the petals. You can see it in the sepals on the outside. Telegonus is just a very unique kind of flower and body. You see it. And that's why that plant always fascinated me. I love that hybrid from the body. And yeah, but in some parts of the world, that name has stuck to it. You know, today when you show a hybrid with telegonus like Teleflora, it's a hybrid from the 1950s or so. 1950s. When you show that plant today, it will reliably be misidentified as brevispinulosus. And misidentified, it's not even the right word, because it is one such plant, you know, but it's not. It's just a random name that probably a seed seller came up with, that, or a nursery chain. They had a bunch of plants that they didn't know what it is, so they put a label on it, maybe even making sense, you know, like looking at the traits that the plant has. But yeah, Teleflora has been around for so long that there are many follow-up hybrids with it too. And people really care about that. I remember, like, people were getting mad at me for pointing it out. You know, there were times when I talked about this, people were really sensitive. And yeah, I understand. I have no ill will. You know, I like that plant. I have grown brevispinulosus. I don't have it today anymore. In my opinion, it is the same plant that is known as imperialis, Echinopsis imperialis, also a classic hybrid that I've shown on the channel. Hey, I was born in Germany. Like I was born like in between Germany and France. Like the area in between, you know? I have a little bit of both. The area where I lived, like where I grew up, very very heavily influenced by the French. Beautiful place. So yeah. Okay. These are getting cleaner, as you can see. Constantly removing stuff, constantly trying to clean it up, just so we can sew them out sometime soon. Next time I brought new pots that I want to clean. Starland. I actually always saw myself as a classic Saarlander. Thank you. Thank you. I basically grew up on the internet. I've been around for a long time, and after 20 years or so, you at some point when I talk during the day, I start mixing the languages. It is becoming, one thing, one mix of both at some point. I don't know. So yeah, check it out. Almost nothing but seeds here. Yeah, the dialect where I was born, it's really unique. It's really interesting. Heavily. I can't even. It even changes from village to village. It's a very. I do not understand the dialects from just maybe 100 kilometers where people, into a different direction where they came from. It's a very heavily, like a heavy dialect, but it's funny. It's funny. There's a bunch of videos where I speak it. It's hard to do it just randomly, but it's a very, very funny dialect. And yeah, the area is beautiful, really nice. A lot of history from the last thousands of years, and yeah, generally speaking, the people that live there, they are in between us, between the French kind of way, like the way the cultures have merged there. A lot of French people drive there to buy stuff, and the Germans drive on the other side to buy to shop. And that is a good thing, in my opinion. That kind of brings people closer together. It was a good place to grow up in, like in the 80s, that kind of stuff. Nice place. Okay, I think this is all right. I will bag these now, and sometime within the next streams, I want to sew these out, because these are looking really interesting, healthy where a lot of the others weren't healthy. We will try these out, and if not, at least there's a lot of Teleflora seeds around now. That is also something good, because it's a rare kind of plant. When you have seeds, it's very often you only have the kind of tiny seeds that I've discussed earlier. Okay. So, Teleflora. I don't think we will ever have so many flowers on Teleflora again than we had like 2025. That plant was full of flowers, and almost every one grew into a fruit. It was really impressive. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, I think I did everything that I wanted to do today. Pretty good stream. I'm happy. Didn't get totally political today. It's also nice for a change, Yesterday's stream, I was just, every now and then you go into a stream, I go into a stream with totally different, I want to say, I'm telling myself, don't get involved. Don't say anything. You know, today we try to find a middle ground between arguing all the time and just saying what you believe in. And yesterday just happened. You know, sometimes you hear something or you read something and you had it. And that was yesterday. So, but it was a super great stream that I was happy to do. So every now and then you just have to change subject, be comfortable, and say something that you always wanted to say. So yeah, but it was great today to just continue with the sewing out stuff. It was great to be back. I'll be back tomorrow. So yeah, thank you for participating, for being here. I loved this. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow, guys. Thank you. We'll see you again. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you for participating.